Pretty good crowd here in a rugby league mad city as the enemy, the traditional enemy, I'll get it right. The Sea Eagles come out. The Eagles pack boasts plenty of kilos. They also have that durability with guys like Anthony Watmough.
You're right, played 80 minutes last week against the Sharks, and Orford needs to go direct ball early to Watmough in these conditions. He's quick, he's aggressive, and he's very agile, and in these wet conditions, his change in direction can cause plenty of concerns for the Knights tonight. So he's a key player for the Manly to get a win tonight.
Anthony Watmough, he is the army of one on any given night. Matt Orford, again, needs to take a dominant role to get the Sea Eagles forward. Point scoring was an issue last week, just 10 points at Brookvale Oval in their 16-10 loss to the Cronulla Sharks. Glenn Stewart, the other 80-minute man. The game faces on. The Knights dressing room. Big blow, Steve Simpson. Last week, only playing best part of 5 minutes with a knee injury. He has gone for some weeks now. Listen to the cheer. The Danny Baderas-led Newcastle Knights make their way onto Energy Australia Stadium, and the faithful have come out to see their local heroes. The Knights' ruck combination was sound last start. An important element of that is, again, Jared Mullen.
Yeah, he stepped up to the plate last week when they were down and out early on. Steve Simpson was injured. Cooper Vunu also went down early on, but Mullen took control of the rucks. He pushed the Knights around the paddock. His kicking game was outstanding. And once again tonight, he'll look to take a lot of pressure off Scott Giro, who's only playing his third first-grade game as halfback.
Wayne, you've seen Jared Mullen come through the junior ranks a lot of the time alongside your own son, Mitchell Pearce, of course. 7 or 6? Where do you think Jared Mullen is best? Because, of course, he played 7 for New South Wales last season.
Yeah, he filled up the halfback's role pretty well last year, but I think he's exclusively a 6. He loves to control the rucks from second receiver, a little like Darren Lockyer likes to come in and control the play from number 6.
Our referee is Ben Cummins, just his 35th first-grade game. Our video referee is Russell Smith. And the Newcastle Knights, the home side, will get first opportunity with the football, but it is the visitors, Manly, that will have the use of a reasonable breeze in the opening 40 minutes. And we are underway. Round 2, Super Saturday action, live from Energy Australia Stadium in Newcastle. And it's the two sides that since 1997 have had quite the rivalry in the Newcastle Knights and Manly Warringah Sea Eagles.
Watmough too early.
It's taken 1.5 plays for the first penalty of the game. Anthony Watmough inside the 10. And a great line finder from Scott Giro. This is the reason for the penalty.
Yeah, just getting off the line too quickly. At the sign of the enthusiasm there from Manly, they're fired up. They realise that they need to come up with a victory. Last week's loss after the grand final loss I think knocked a fair bit of confidence out of them.
Josh Perry involved in that tackle. He is jersey number 15 for the visitors. Manly, of course, played so much football and was a Newcastle junior. This is just his second game out of a Newcastle strip and his first game against his former club. That's penalty number 2. What to do, Junior? Take the 2, maintain pressure.
I'd be happy to take the 2 early on, put a couple of points on the board. Confidence, yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. Manly just looked at me to be anxious. They looked to be a little nervous. They've made the trek up here from Sydney and just jumping the gun there again. In at marker, they jumped the gun a bit earlier out of the line, up the other end of the field, put themselves under pressure. They need to settle down and settle down quickly because Newcastle last week were the team that was on the back foot from the word go.
Newcastle made plenty of running metres in their match against Canberra last week. In fact, the most running metres in round number 1, over 1.5 kilometres of them in just the 100-metre field. Shows they were prepared to play an expansive brand of football against what's traditionally a pretty big side in the Raiders. The same could be said also for the Sea Eagles. When you're boasting a starting lineup with Josh Perry, Jason King and Brent Kite, with Cuthbertson and Bryant on the bench, you have got plenty of kilos at your disposal as Kurt Gidley moves in and opens the account after Just over 90 seconds. It is 2-0 in favour of the home side, the Newcastle Knights. As I said, it's been raining all afternoon. Scott Sadler, what are the conditions like?
Well, Andy, it's very slippery down here. We haven't had a lot of heavy rain, but a lot of light rain. Very swirly wind, not really favouring any side, to be quite honest. So I think the fullbacks are going to come under a lot of pressure with any high ball that goes up tonight. In regards to the conditions, I think it really does favour the Manly Seagulls with their quickness and their agility around the ruck against this inexperienced Newcastle pack.
Yeah, Scotty, you talk about the high ball, but I think because the conditions are so greasy, I think the fullbacks and wingers are going to really struggle with the ball on the ground in goal tonight. So you would expect Matty Orford and Jared Mullen to really look to exploit that opportunity.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, as we see, another penalty to Newcastle to get them out of their danger zone. I think there's going to be a lot of cover from the back three for each other tonight. It's going to be a really difficult conditions for both sides.
After 3 minutes, the penalty count is 3-0, and the referee, he's more popular than the Easter Bunny up here at the moment.
Good.
Just over halfway, Badderis at dummy half, moves to the near side through Mullen. And a good ball there to Daniel Tola, who makes his way within 35 metres of the try line. Again, Badderis. And at first receiver, Mullen, named at 6, but playing a lot of that first receiver. Scott Duro on the right-hand side, Mullen on the left. Badderis goes right, moves it back in towards the ruck.
Move, Josh!
Manly's defence coming up as one. That time it was Jason King and Josh Perry. Too wide they go through Mullen, who challenges the line himself. But a good variation in his game. Jared Mullen plays football before, into and through the line. As Duro goes over the top, it bounces, it's awkward. Brett Stewart, did he play the waiting game? Was he forced to make a play at it? Our referee says you had a crack. And the pressure remains on the Seagulls, a dropout coming.
Yeah, so the grass sort of a little thick in the in-goal area, as well as Wetmans. The ball pulls up almost immediately there. Difficult for the visiting team to try and judge the speed of the ball. So put in no man's land, get the repeat set here, exactly what they were looking for.
When you're ready, mate.
Drop out of 40 metres, and here comes Dan Tola.
Surrender!
Daniel and fiancée Heidi became proud parents last month, so maybe excuse Dan if the mind isn't solely on representing the Knights. Proud father for the first time. Real worker for the Newcastle side. Tackle number 2 going the short side, and they do so through Wes Nguama. One of 7 off-season recruits in the 17 used by Brian Smith tonight. Lalia. Manly remained very much on the back foot. Duro making a play. That was Josh Perry, and it is 6 again. The Knights have had all of the football.
Yeah, good defence there from Manly, though. They're getting off their line and frustrating the Knights. Knights need to get some more bodies in motion when they go wide rather than just catching and passing.
Running into a very strong line. Although beaten last week, the Eagles only conceded 16 points. The 11 is Chris Houston, a big unit patrolling this left-hand side. As they go back through Duro, takes on the front rower and Perry, and a good scrambling effort from the front rower to Mullen. Nice wide ball and very well picked up by James McManus on that right flank, and he heads centre field, beats the initial tackle, is collared eventually by Matt Orford and Brent Kite. Back to Mullen, looking for points. Another set of do. Very well taken by Michael Barney.
Stand up. Go.
And Andy, there, the Manly defence, you've got to take your hats off to them because they really did put pressure on what effectively was 3 sets back-to-back on the line there from Newcastle. They frustrated the outside backs by getting up so quickly and in the end come up with possession. So Manly really defensively on their game tonight.
What about this possession stat? 93% of the football was in the hands of the Knights, just 7% in the hands of the Eagles. And it was only 4 or 5 tackles ago. It was 99-1 in favour of the home siders. Kirk Gidley does his very best to remain 2 metres inside the sideline. Taking it forward and doing so with power. Cooper Vuna. Very quick footballer and very, very powerful. This is Lalia.
Cooper Vuna suffered a compound fracture to his finger I think it was his index finger last week. Left the field for about 25 minutes, came back on all strapped up. So he's playing under a bit of duress out there tonight. But
I don't know whether you're tough, brave or silly when you're doing that. Maybe a combination of both as Michael Robinson is forced deep within his in goal. Here come the Knights. Robinson will have to do well, and he does.
That was wonderful work there by Robinson. He gave the foot tracks coming down there, but manages to get back into the field of play. Now, the Knights, they are pumped. They're on a roll, and Manly still struggling in attack, still struggling to get back for numbers.
Great confrontation, great collision there. It was 4-on-1. Kudos to Michael Robinson as the Eagles get their first penalty of the evening.
And they badly needed that one. You can see them just sucking in the big breaths. They've been under enormous pressure. And a little bit of interference there. We get a very much a relieving penalty now. Manly, last week they really struggled to put, well, I suppose to put a bit of variety in their play. A lot of one-out stuff tonight. That will suit the conditions, but they still need to put a bit more variety into their play than what they showed last week.
Josh Perry tackled by former teammates in Jesse Royal and Danny Baderis. On the inside, Ballon finds the angled runner in the form of Brent Kike. Towards the 40-metre line they are. Matt Orford at first receiver. A short little ball to Anthony Watmo. Promotes the ball the best part of 5 or 6 metres himself. Very slow play the ball.
On the movement call, Denny.
Newcastle have been penalised for it. 3-2 the count after 9 minutes or thereabouts.
Well, the wet conditions mean that you've got to slow the play. Well, you've got to slow the play the balls down anyway. But they're really struggling, both teams, to try and get their timing right in that play the ball area tonight.
That's one.
2-0 to the Knights. The Eagles ready to pounce. It is Perry getting to his feet, albeit slowly. Orford, short ball. Watmo is tackled on that left fringe. Ballon, late to dummy half, finds his spot. Oh, a nasty ball that one was to Jason King. I don't think the front row was expecting that. And a penalty again.
Right, ruck. Put on the line here.
Interfering in the ruck is the call. Now the Knights are on their heels.
Not a marker.
You couldn't argue with that penalty there, interference in the play of the ball. Really a massive test for the Knights here. Last week they struggled a little bit when Canberra were down on their line in the first half. But tonight, bigger crowd, bigger atmosphere, and up against a bigger name team.
Tennis Kite. He's lost the ball. He's lost it stone cold, if you like.
No advantage. We'll have a scrum. Too close to the goal line.
Early count mistake from the Seagulls. Not a great start.
No, it's not. Wet conditions. Kite just struggling a little bit. Just trying to get his arms free.
That's just poor ball security.
Well, yeah, they're looking at having a second look at it, but you can't. You can't say that the Knights tried to knock the ball out there. It was just, as you said, just poor ball security.
They haven't tried to knock the ball directly out. There's plenty of arm holding, which is legal, but they haven't made a play for the football as such.
Arms around and stay in. Put it in. Put it in. Out.
Gidley from the back of the scrum. Pushes it to this near side. Great Manly defence. They are working in combination and working well.
Here and hold. Hold.
To the delight of Des Hasler. Not that you'd know it from the look on Desi's face. Does it tougher as a coach, I think, Desi, than what he ever did as a player.
I think we all do. It's a little tougher gig. But I think Manly last week, they sort of showed a little bit of a hangover from the grand final. Melbourne certainly didn't in their performance, but Manly last week just looked a little flat and possibly missing, well, not possibly, I think definitely missing Monahan and his creativity in attack.
Giro inside the 40, looking for the sideline. It's got plenty on it, and it hits the line. Advantage Newcastle. What a kick from Scott Giro.
And what a confidence booster for the young fella as well. It's only his third first-grade game. Comes up with a 40-20. And these moments, these events, they turn matches. You can see him pumping his fellow Knights up. They're on a roll.
Don't wipe it, but you've got blood on your cheeks, so just go out the back and get a scene to. Just get him to wipe it for us. Out the back. Yep.
A little bit of blood there on the temple of Daniel Tola. Nothing more than a trickle. And our referee has blown up play.
Another one in.
Requesting now a lock because it's just a five-man scrum.
In you go. Put it in, put it in.
The Knights in possession,
on, mate,
and we'll go again.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, you got second, mate, you stay in there.
10 metres out. Newcastle, not a try in the game as yet.
Put it in, 2 hands, let's go. Okay. Lock in, Kurt, now arms around. In you go, Anthony.
It's like a rugby union scrum, it's taking long enough. Gidley short side, tries to put the footwork on Orford. Two strong, relatively little dudes in a one-on-one confrontation there. Watmo was called in for support. Off the laces of Baderis, a grubber through, that's just tackle 2. And Stewart makes a late play at it because Chris Houston was bearing down on him.
Kurt's holding him in there with the arm, you can't lock him in, okay?
And not a problem kicking through on early play because it's something that the fullback, in particular the winger, don't really expect that kick through on early play. And he almost got there as well, Houston.
Stay behind it, guys.
Chris Houston, one of the new faces. Of course, purchased from the St George Illawarra Dragons, along with Danny Wicks and Keith Aaliyah, Wes Naguama. Here is Jesse Royal. Once again inside Manly territory.
Move it, Brian! Here I am, Josh. Hold.
And what Newcastle don't want to do tonight is they don't want to engage the Manly forwards in an arm wrestle because the Manly forwards, they're big, they're strong, they're experienced. So they're looking to try and work Manly around on the edges of the ruck, 1 and 2 passes wide with their ball players. Oh, big hit.
That was solid from King over the top. Front on with Jesse Royal. Down low was Matty Ballin. Giro to Mullen. Goes wide quickly into the hands of Naguama. He was popped by Robinson, also there David Violecki. Across the field they come. Daniel Tolar straightens, flicks it out the back, a speculator, nothing more. Danny Baderis has not been able to secure the footy, and the desperation of the Eagles is rewarded.
Not square. Danny, not square, nowhere near it. Wes, not square.
Mark Bryant lines up on the sideline for a change. You can see Newcastle breaking early. Where's Naguama there, not even marking square. So it's an easy piggyback out there for Manly. And the Knights can't afford to let Manly ball play down their end of the field. They've got to play a territorial game if they're going to win this match. They've got to reduce their penalty count and their drop balls.
Here and hold, go.
Orford short ball to Watmo. The defence was up quickly, then moving sideways. Both Luke Williamson and Mark Bryant on the sideline preparing to move into action. Might come on late in the attacking set. They certainly won't come on through the defensive set. Orford first receiver. Point of reception again, very flat from Matt Orford.
And Newcastle
not giving the Eagles a lot of time with the football before the defensive line is up. Every time that point of reception is very, very shallow. Good defence from the Knights on the left fringe. Last tackle. They'll be looking for Jamie Lyon, but Steve Bell goes himself. Has he got it down?
Mate, that'll be the last. Just want to check for grounding.
Low percentage play from the veteran Stephen Bell, a very safe footballer. He's had a crack at it solo.
Plenty of players go to sleep on the sneaky little short side, and he's lost it though. He's lost it. It was on definitely, but he doesn't quite control it.
Hand in there from Jared Mullen, which is perfectly legal.
Jared Mullen did extremely well. And in the wet conditions, obviously the ball a little bit breezier. Steve Bell didn't quite hang on to it, but you know, I don't know if it was that low a percentage play, because that little short side is the side that close to the sideline there. It's easy for players to go to sleep defensively.
They had the back line wide and deep with Orford and Lyon, both option kickers. One of the new rulings from 2007 to 2008 in the process of going for a try. The strip is allowed.
And I think it's a good rule as well. I mean, what else are you going to do when the ball's over the try line? You can't just let the players put it down, so it's a fair ruling.
Russell Smith is our video referee. Hope your coffee's full or your cold beer at home, because often the night's a long one with Russ in control. No try, 20-metre restart. As we head to the sideline with Scott Sattler.
Andy, we've seen over the years, coming to Newcastle, you play against two opponents, Andrew Johns and the Newcastle fans. Well, Andrew Johns is gone, but the fans still turn out in big numbers. What Manly have got to do is try and play the crowd out of the equation, and they do that by dominating play, which they haven't done from the kickoff here. A try there would have silenced them a bit.
Manly at the moment defending with a 12-man line, as we saw Luke Williamson and Stephen Menzies preparing to move into action. The reason why is Glenn Stewart is moving towards the sideline. It appears he is coming from the field, and a knee or ankle injury has got him on the periphery at the moment, not really playing a part in the game. Great tackle again, it's Orford. The man they call the Ox. Giro with an inside-out banana kick to Robertson. Always a pretty good indication, Wayne, of the mindset and the confidence of a side. It's their application of kick chase, and there was plenty of enthusiasm there, and a good kick chase from the Knights.
Yeah, well, they're certainly pumped up and they're enthusiastic and keen. And that last week's style of victory, come from behind, certainly gives them enough confidence. Against Manly, they've really got to control the rucks. Their marker defence so far tonight has been great. Their ability to slow down the play of the ball, as we see here again, has been outstanding. And that means that the ball players like Matt Orford haven't got the time to put their play on. And they haven't looked dangerous so far in this match.
So far, both sides playing pretty tight footy, not prepared to throw the ball too wide, too early. They want to play it in and around the ruck area.
Well, the conditions are going to dictate that. And sort of a good bit of pressure there on Matt Orford. In the end, the kick ended up okay. I mean, I'd like to see a little bit more variety with the kicking game. As I said, the grass is very wet, so if they get the ball in behind the wingers and fullback, a lot more dangerous, I think, rather than just roll it over the sideline.
And put it in now.
Oh, a second grab at it there from the Knights, and upended a good low shot there from Stewart and Lyon. A lot of one-on-one strength, the Knights. They're able to push off tackles, not necessarily breaking the line, but they're busting initial tackles and pushing through the advantage line. Exactly the case there. Words exchanged between Chris Houston and Jamie Lyon on this near side. Prior to that Gidley run, ball from Mullen out to Nguama. He's got McManus with him as well. Doesn't go to his wing three-quarter. Good gain from the Knights on this set. And a kick into the corner. And it takes a right-hand bounce at the very end from the left foot of Jared Mullen. About the quarter-way point in the matchup. And it is 2 points to 0 in favour of Newcastle. Hope you're enjoying Super Saturday.
Yeah, a little bit long there from Jared Mullen. He wanted to pull up in the in-goal area, try and force a repeat set. But we see Newcastle prepared to move the ball around. They're trying to get outside this compressed Manly defensive line. And Manly on the other side of the equation playing very tight and not getting the room to move because they just aren't dominating the rucks at the moment. Once again, Newcastle rolling the Manly players onto their back, slowing the speed of the play of the ball down, and that's causing problems for their go forward. Here it is again.
Only 2 line breaks to the Seagulls against Cronulla last start. Monster bomb Coming down to the hands of Gidley. Orford had a play at it, or did he? Matt Ballin is going to race away and put the ball across the line. Did Matt Orford, in challenging for the football, legitimately challenge, or did he not?
All shall be revealed with the replay, but it was a mighty kick into a bit of a breeze in this first half. Manly, they're running into a little bit of a southeasterly breeze. And the ball held up. Seemed to be a little bit misjudged by Kurt Gidley in the end. There was some pressure put on here, and bang, the ball goes up very high. The chases. Matty Orford, he's onside, not a problem there. Now, does he legitimately challenge? Yeah, I don't think there's a problem there. I think he challenges for the football. And well picked up there by Matty Ballin.
Ballin goes away unchallenged to the line, takes a little knee to the back of the melon, courtesy of James McManus.
Well, the question is, he genuinely challenging the football? I think he is. I think he's going up and trying to tap the football back. So it's very difficult to argue otherwise, and then you're trying to read the mind of a player, what the player's intent is. But
two players in front of the kicker as we see it there.
Orford's onside, but the other two players, I don't think they come within 10 metres of Gidley when he goes for the ball. They just seem to drop out of play.
Keeping an eye on the two players offside. I think Matt Orford's one of them.
Well, I'm not so sure whether Orford was offside. I mean, difficult. There was no line on the ground to try and judge by. And Ballin gets the put down. Not a problem. Orford.
Okay.
You can see top of the screen there.
Onside.
I think he's onside, yeah.
Yep.
There's no line there, but
I stand corrected, Junior. I stand corrected. I've got the trainer mixed up for the halfback. So everyone's onside. Are we now looking at the challenge?
Well, as I said, I mean, are you going to then question the intent of the challenge? And to me, I thought it was a legal challenge. Nothing wrong with a put down by Matt Ballin. And I'd be surprised if there's not a try.
They are waiting impatiently, very impatiently, the footballers, not to mention the fans and the viewers. The decision.
32, I'll take it.
It's coming finally.
Well, I've got absolutely no idea how that's ruled a no try. If he's onside, he's then ruled.
Anthony Watmow was inside the 10.
Oh, so the rule is Anthony Watmow's inside the 10. Let's have a look at that. And well, tell you what,
I'd like
get your micrometer out.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of measuring tape to figure out the 10 metres there. Oh.
That's a tough call against Manly. They've got to regather, they've got to regroup. That's in the past now. They've got to play this set. Settle down, forget about that decision going against you. Those things happen. Get their heads back on the defence.
Luke Williamson is on for the Seagulls, and he'll be thankful of that. Got very limited game time against the Sharks in round number 1, and was pretty much the touch judge's best friend for the first 73 or 4 minutes. Trying to get onto the field several times. No one wanted to come off, but versatile back rower is on there now in jersey 14. Now this had hurt you, Manly fans. Oh, pop out the back. Nguama. There's a couple of grabs at it. The Knights just so close there to breaking the line metres from the try line. They go through Mullen. Over the top. Barney has been turned around, but Brett Stewart is there. Stewart doesn't need to make a play at it. The Knights got a pretty raw bounce. And back to the 20-metre line we go.
Yeah, it was the right idea once again from Jared Mullen, just a touch too heavy. They had the chasers coming through there. Looking for the repeat set, if not a try, but a little bit too hard on now. Manly need to settle down. They haven't really got into any rhythm so far in this first half. As we can see there, just pushing the football. Haven't settled down. Their minds aren't quite on the job at the moment.
Just want to make all our viewers very aware there's a few little technical issues in the system because of the rain this afternoon, so please ignore our clock for the majority of We're trying to catch up about 20 seconds every minute. It's sort of on my time, Junior, just a little out.
Like the timing there by Luke Williamson was touch out as well. Those sort of passes, Manly don't need to push passes like that in the wet conditions. Very, very greasy football out there at the moment. You don't want to put your teammates under pressure.
Disappointing when it rains all day. You want players walking off the field with muddy jerseys, but so good are the grounds and the drainage in 2008 that it can absolutely pour down and no one gets muddy.
No, what about the good old days when we used to get muddy? You couldn't see the numbers on the back that say, you know, missed a tackle, didn't matter. They couldn't work it out who it was.
It is very much about holding the ball tonight in these difficult conditions as we go from Duro to Mullen. Wider to Gidley. On the fringe, Gidley beats the initial contact of Glenn Stewart. Roped to the ground by Brent Kite, should I say. Mullen again. And Duro at second receiver. Maguama tries to step on the inside of his outside. A little confused there was Wes. Made a couple of metres regardless. Across field we go. And a knock on from Newcastle.
Well, it was a perfectly weighted kick. Keith Lalare, I think it was, that came running through. Was right on the spot, perfectly weighted, onside.
Not far off.
It was right in the breadbasket, but just took his eyes off at the last moment. I think he in the corner of his eye, I think he saw Michael Barney put his eyes off the football, and that was a try gone begging for the Knights.
Here and hold. Hold. No, you're holding here. Go.
Big set of 6 here for the Eagles. Kite dummied on the inside to Glenn Stewart. Took the ball to ground on the 30-metre line. Short side they operate through Glenn Stewart. Doesn't he get through a mountain of work? The older brother of Brett at the back.
He looked like he was injured and may have been forced to leave the field a little earlier, and that would have been a massive blow, because I think for me, he was the most improved player in the competition last year, in the NRL competition.
And he's got the beard back. I'm a big fan of that one on Glenn Stewart.
Is that an early one for November, is it? Yeah, but how big will it be then? Like Crusher Cleal?
It'll be Cleal style.
Oh, massive.
Moving on is Richard Fayoso and also Danny Wicks for the Newcastle Knights. The best part of 15.5 minutes remaining in this opening half. You'd expect those two guys to see it out until half-time. Kurt Gidley on the 30-metre line. Again, Badderas, very quick service from dummy half into the hands of James McManus. Again, kicking inside out, the Knights, right behind the ruck area. It was deep, and it was in between Stewart and Barney.
Great work there by Danny Badderas. He realised that Jared Mullen and Scott Duro have been put on a little bit of pressure with their kicking game, stepped out of dummy half, and one of the good things that Badderas has got, he's got a great combination now with Jared Mullen. They've played a lot of games together, and they can virtually read each other's minds, and that was an opportunity there for him to take the pressure off Jared yet again.
Here's Watmo, taking on 3 of them. He's dropped to the ground. Up before being rolled onto his back, just to slow it up a little bit. Williamson tip on. Ends up with Josh Perry on the 40-metre line, and great Newcastle defence. They've constrained, if you like, the Manly attack so far tonight. Here is Gidley, getting dangerously close to the sideline.
Andy, on paper, you'd say that the Newcastle pack doesn't look anywhere near as powerful as this Manly pack, but you've got to say, take your hats off to Newcastle. They're playing more enthusiastically, more aggressively than Manly are at the moment. They're winning the play-the-ball contest. They're getting over the advantage line, as we just saw again there with ease. And Manly are struggling to contain Newcastle in the yardage game.
As we said earlier, Newcastle made more running metres than any other side in round number 1. And again tonight, a pretty good illustration of what they're good at and how they play their football as Duro goes to the air. Off the side of his boot, McManus makes a play at it. That's a forward ball to Serraldo. Young Cameron, another one of the new recruits, his eyes lit up. He thought it was try time.
If it had been, if Cameron Serraldo had been a touch later, it was try time, because
Okay.
It was open spaces to the try line, but unfortunately it definitely went forward. Now Manly need to settle down. They just have not settled down in this first half and still getting dominated in that play the ball area.
Let's head to the sideline with Scotty Sattler.
Yeah, Junior, you mentioned the Newcastle forwards and how they're dominating this play. As we see, another penalty to get the Manly out of a pretty dangerous situation up this end of the field. They spent most of their half this end of the field, and we see Ben Cummings calling Danny Badiris over to explain to him what is going on with all these penalties. And we'll have a listen to what he has to say.
We've had quite a number of penalties in the ruck, especially your markers square. I'm yelling to them each ruck. They've got to get there, mate. Okay, fix it now.
Yeah, just getting back to the Newcastle forward back, I feel this last 12.5 minutes will be a make or break for the Newcastle team. They've held this Manly team out for this first half, but the impact of their bench with Patterson, Hilda, Danny Wicks, and also Richie Foso, very mobile bench, and I expect them to come on this last 12.5 minutes and make a real impact in this game.
Just 2 points to nil, almost half an hour into this round 2 clash. Toyota Cup before the game saw Newcastle 22 defeat Manly 12, and Central Newcastle also beat the Bulldogs in the New South Wales Cup earlier this afternoon here at Energy Australia Stadium. As Lyon goes to Stewart, Glenn, and it was Brett on the inside, and Brett Stewart's involved in a push and shove with Chris Houston, almost taking the fullback out of the play. Manly need him at the moment. Barney tackled 5 metres out. They go to Lyon, across field, Orford. Plenty of decoy runners, but no one going straight and expecting the football, and a knock on. Was it strict? Was it strict? We will have a look at 2 replays on the way to packing the scrum.
Matt, I won't have players running at me. Tell me to check it. So
well, Ben Cummins wasn't sure. First thing he said was just check this. Now, this is a real grey area, this one, because where's the onus on the ball carrier? Is he trying to? Well, now that, to me, that's an each-way bet. You can go either way on this one. So, I mean, I don't know whether we should be going to the video to have a look at this particular incident. But yeah, I think it's an each-way bet, that one. So, benefit there to the team in possession.
Not the case here.
Yeah, well, the Knights are now in possession.
The Knights are now in possession.
Wait there. Get down, Jason. Wait there. Locks in, Glenn. Kurt, in you go. Stay in. Out.
Emphasis on a delay in time in regards to the scrums in the new season. Just trying to make it more of a pause in play and allow the attack more time to structure what they're about to do in hope of a more attacking brand of footy.
Well, you might as well drop the interchanges down to 6 then, because they're getting a lot of stoppages anyway, the players.
Won't get in the argument here. Manly bench, Kite, Perry, Menzies and Cuthbertson sitting from the sideline at the moment. Here is Kurt Gidley out of dummy half. Carries the ball out in front. Very good off both feet, and as a result it keeps defenders very much on their heels. Duro again in charge of the kick. Here is Stewart, and it was Houston leading the charge down there, along with the 19 in Keith Lalia.
I think the Knights would be, well, Brian Smith would be a little concerned that they haven't come up with more points in this first half, because they've got a little bit of a breeze behind them in this first half. They've had by far the better of the territorial advantage. Most of the game's been played down this end of the field, yet still they only lead by 2 points to nil. So that is somewhat of a concern, because Manly at half-time, if Des Hasler can get their minds on the job, settle them down with the benefit of the breeze in the second half, they'll have a big advantage.
Steve Menzies warming up on the sideline, about ready to get into career game 325. Still going strong, the Beaver.
Yeah, what a fantastic ambassador for the game he's been, Steve Menzies. He's just got better and better. In my opinion, got better and better as he's got older. He's played
agree.
A lot tighter, a lot tougher. And in his 16th season, first grade rugby league, that's just an unbelievable record for a forward.
He's got a friend at the Manly RTA that keeps winding back his date of birth as well.
Oh, that headgear's done well for him, hasn't it? He's protected him all those years.
Here go the Knights once again on this short side. Trying to initiate the move was Cooper Vuna. Here's Baderis. Getting a solid shot there from Steve Bell and Glenn Stewart. The winger moves into dummy half. To Duro. Sidesteps Bell. Pumps it out into the middle. Robinson has a play at it, a couple of grabs. Out wide on that right side is the 15 now in Corey Patterson. Starting front row for the Knights in Jesse Royal, and Dan Toller is on the bench. So too Zeb Taya and Cameron Ciraldo. So Corey Patterson will slot nicely into that right-hand side back rower slot, teaming with Wes Nguama.
And I've watched Manly very closely last week and also again tonight. I really think they're struggling to adapt to no Michael Monaghan playing in the team, because when you look at it, Monaghan, he topped their try assists last year for the club. He topped their line break assists, and he was instrumental in a lot of their attack and worked extremely well with Matt Orford. And once again, we can see there just a nothing play to finish the set.
There was a solo play very much in the hands of Brett Stewart there, and when it works, it looks brilliant. Didn't pay off that time.
And what you're doing is you're conceding a whole of the yardage in a wet, greasy game. When you try it, you take a risk play. You're talking about high-risk play, that's a high-risk play. And what a bullocking run there.
Question mark at the moment over Wes Nguama too. On the right-hand side for the Newcastle Knights, has been with a trainer for the best part of the last couple of minutes, and here is Gidley. Hasn't he matured as a footballer, Kurt Gidley? Was in the imposing shadow of brother Matt for many years. Not the case now. Halfback on halfback. Duro on Orford. Oh, the little bantamweights looking to get the gloves up. Anthony Watmo, the army of one. He'll line them up and take them all on himself.
Well, this is where it started from when that turnover started around halfway. Man, they're taking the quick tap. They're trying to get up the tempo of the game, try and just get a bit of a roll on over the advantage line. And Newcastle, they're muscling up. They don't want to concede any yardage leading up to half-time.
While we're having a look at the replay, Newcastle got marched 10 metres for back-chatting the referee. Matt Orford took the quick tap and gave it straight to Anthony Watmo. Here is Steve Bell. Very much like David Violecki, has had limited opportunities with the footy tonight, Stephen Bell. Stewart, a boy from West Wollongong.
Manly haven't really been in the field position to move the ball around, to throw the ball around. It's been played mostly down in their end of the field.
Oh, this is awkward for Gidley. It's near the post. It's a spiral bomb. He drops it, and Jamie Lyon is there. Finally, we have a try. It has taken 34 minutes, but we have a try here at Newcastle. What a bomb for Kurt Gidley to contend with. A, the ball is slippery. B, it was one of those awful torpedo spiral bombs, and the posts weren't too far away.
Well, it looked like it was a little too deep, to be perfectly honest, but the breeze held it up. There's a breeze behind Newcastle. It held the ball up there, and Gidley, he made a meal of it. I think he was mixed up with the post, as you pointed out. The chasing team was on the spot. Lyon was there, comes up with the try, and you've got to say it was against the run of play, because Gidley looked as though he had it covered, to be honest. Manly come up with the try against the run of play. They go to the front on the scoreboard, but they've been playing most of the game down their end of the field.
Jamie Lyon is first for 07 and edging in on 50 career tries. The kid from the Wee-Waa Panthers. Of course, debuted for Parramatta and controversially left the club. Had a stint in Northern Hemisphere Rugby League and has come back to reunite, if you like, with old mate and old Crusher Cleo on the peninsula, and loves it. The captain and halfback, the Ox, Matt Orford. Golfing terms, this is a gimme, you would expect. Yes, no dramas from Matt Orford. 4 minutes to half-time. It is Manly 6, Newcastle 2.
Yeah, well, Matt Orford, he was the boat that milked the penalty. Scott Duro was enticed into a little bit of a engagement in the play of the ball. They got the penalty at Manly.
8 tries in 8 games against Newcastle for Jamie Lyon.
Yeah, wonderful effort. He's a talented player, but still the jury's out as to whether or not he's a genuine 5'8" as opposed to a centre. I am still yet to be convinced that he is a genuine 5'8", but...
Where would you play him? Your coach and sole selector?
I think he is a centre, to be honest. I think he's in the centres, but Manly at the moment, they really need somebody to step up as a 5'8". He's improving, continuing to improve, but I still think, in my opinion, he's a centre.
The tempo of the game has changed. As a double knock on there. So I was just about to say, Wayne, the tempo of the game has changed. It's a direct result of the dominance of the ruck and who was dominating on the ground. And early on, perhaps for the first 25, 30 minutes, it was Newcastle. Just a change on the ruck, both offensively and defensively for Manly, and as a result, they're getting those metres.
I think what's knocked the wind out of the Knights a little bit before that try was the fact that they'd been down 3 or 4 times down onto the Manly line with genuine opportunities to score, and they didn't come up with points. And the Keith Lalia missed try opportunity was a big blow to the Knights in this first half. I think that really knocked them around.
We had a close one to start Super Saturday. Canberra 20 defeated Penrith 16. Oh, good shot there. It was big Jason King. And Matt Hilda, not a well puppy.
Really muscling up well now, Manly. You can see they've got a bit of a spring in their step. That try has given them a lot of confidence. They've been very ragged in this first half up until this point. And Newcastle, as we can see, Matt Hilda, a little bit of blood coming out of the nose.
Put the ball down, get someone else to play it. Got blood, go take him out the back, thanks.
Matt Hilda trying to say to the referee, I'm fine. He's been to a few clubs, Matt Hilda, and at the moment he's not sure whether he's playing for the Titans, Sharks or Knights.
Just wait till I call time on again. That's the second, Denny. Like that. Jason, push up.
Little head clash there on the end of that one from Jason King. No marks on big Jason. Inside the final 2 minutes. What did the Knights? Wouldn't they love a try here? Dominated most of the first half. We go to Mullen. Duro was wider. Former New South Wales halfback challenged the line himself. Baderis. Searching around the ruck, and a great one-on-one tackle from Watmo. There was 4 Eagles there, 4 of them on Danny Wicks, who scored last week. Menzies picks up the ball, pops it up. Luke Williamson's not going to have the legs. Michael Barney very well might, but here come the Knights. That is great cover defence. Great from Lesnar Guama, considering he's the centre on the other side of the field. And that's exactly where the Sea Eagles are going now. Do they go over the top? Do they go straight to the line? Orford goes straight, and that is a great tackle from Kurt Gidley. To the left is where there is space. Lyon sees it on the right and puts too much weight on the footy. Newcastle take a bow. How you have avoided points there, I have no idea.
Well, that was football suicide by Manly. This was the initial tackle after the great break downfield on Michael Barney. Then they come back to this side of the field. The Knights were short on numbers. All they had to do was catch and pass. A rush of blood, Jamie Lyon, as I spoke a little bit earlier, as a 5'8", I just think he's still learning the game, and he forced the issue on that occasion. There was no need for that, and really let Newcastle off the hook on the stroke of half-time.
Put it down, get down, Jason, get in, Kurt.
Inside the final couple of seconds, this will be the last play of the half in the hands of James McManus. Hasn't been a beautiful 40 minutes of football. It's been very much the arm wrestle, pretty tight, in close, and just 8 combined points in 40 minutes. Very difficult conditions, and the siren has sounded here at Energy Australia Stadium At half-time, it is the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles 6 and the Newcastle Knights 2.
Well, Andy, Coach Des Hazard wasn't too concerned with the first half effort. He said great perseverance, got you to the position you are. Just concentrate on your individual defence rather than your team defence. On the other hand, Brian Smith also happy with his team's enthusiasm, but also just doesn't want them to get too hung up on this win behind their back. Just wants their individual efforts. 2 kicks, 2 tries, that's about it. Second half, David Violecki from the Manly Sea Eagles, he's got double vision. He won't take any part, and Steve Menzies will take his place in the centres.
Fair replacement, the Beaver back out into the centres, and haven't they got some centres at their disposal? The club, of course, Steve Maddai not there tonight. Jamie Lyon can play there at a pinch as well. Second half action from Energy Australia Stadium. Round 2 of the National Rugby League continues. It is 6 points to 2 in favour of the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, who of course went down to the Cronulla Sharks last Saturday night at Brookvale Oval. Andy Raymond along with Wayne Pearce and Scott Sattler calling the action. Here is Anthony Watmo getting the ball back to Matt Ballin. He's unable to promote the football and has tackled 23 metres out from his line. Matt Orford moves into dummy half, links up with Mark Bryant, a very quick front row tip on play. Again, metres aren't the reward there. They're moving the football from side to side. Good strong tackle there on with Mark Bryant. We go to Orford. Straight down the field, straight to Kirk Gidley. Good chase from the Eagles. Gidley goes wide. Most hog-tied by country boy Steve Bell there.
And looking at that first half, you've got to say that Manly really struggled to get into any rhythm up until they scored that try leading up to half-time. I suppose the half-time break came at the wrong time for Manly because they had to then go off the field. But now back on the field, they want to get back into their rhythm. They'll be looking to get into that rhythm. And no doubt Des Hazard has said we must compete and win these play the balls because Newcastle dominated in that first half.
Already Newcastle struggling with the football as far as getting up to play it fast. As a result, the defensive line is in your face. You are rushed as far as your decision making and drop ball like that as the result.
And that's the risk you play when you're trying to get around a forward pack that's big, that's mobile, that's experienced like Manly is. Newcastle have been playing the tip on. They're doing 1 and 2 passes, trying to get around the edge of those forwards. Worked okay in the first half, but Manly now getting up a little quicker in defence and really pressuring the ball receivers. Come up with the error on that occasion.
Numbers here for the Eagles. Bell had Barney on his outside, still going. It goes to Brett Stewart. Back to Michael Barney. Centres the point of the attack and runs into a few of the big units. He runs into Richie Fayoso. Matty Hilda was there for the defensive assist. Crossfield, Menzies to Jamie Lyon, who had a look at his outside man before he had control of the football. And a scrum will form on the 30-metre line. It is congratulations tonight, too, for Stephen Bell in his 150th game. Of course, played many years at the Melbourne Storm. The Emerald Tigers Junior, often underrated, not so by his teammates.
Well, he was underrated, I think, when he went to Melbourne, but certainly came away from Melbourne with a massive reputation. Prolific try scorer and a great right foot step who loves to step back into the holes.
The 11 is Chris Houston. Again on that left fringe. So you'll see plenty of Steve Menzies and Steve Bell over the course of the next 40 minutes. Now, it's interesting, Wayne, in the reshuffle with David Violecki. We were told by the Manly club that Steve Menzies is moving to centre, but defensively, Jamie Lyon is defending as left centre in partnership with Michael Robinson, with Bell and Menzies on the one side.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I pointed out, Jamie Lyon's very comfortable defending a little wider as a centre. And in my opinion, I think in the opinion of most coaches, it's more difficult to defend as a centre, as we see Lyon coming into play now in the defensive role. More difficult to defend as a centre than it is as 5'8", because you've got to read the play. Great kick there through by Mullen.
And if it's not Brett Stewart at the back, it's big brother Glenn doing the clean-up work, and he did so again. Michael Barney looking to push it towards the 10-metre line. That is great defence from the Knights.
Dan, go.
It's the 19 Keith O'Leary along with Jared Mullen. And here is Glenn Stewart a moment after cleaning up out the back, taking the ball in hand. Bell. Newcastle defence up very quickly. They're opting to move first, then work when they get to the line. And it's keeping the Sea Eagles very much the back of their own field. Brett Stewart used as the kicker on this occasion and got plenty of the football, as a matter of fact. Kirk Gidley lets it bounce. That is a good kick from a guy not recognised as a genuine ball striker.
Well, it was a poor set up until that kick by Brett Stewart, because they in 5 tackles they only got to the 20-metre line, but Brett Stewart pulled that one out of the blue, and it turned out to be a sensational kick. Found touch, gives his players a bit of a breather, because they're a little fatigued, trying to work it out for their own line there. So it was a fortunate bounce, but a great kick in the end by Brett Stewart.
The Knights weren't out-muscled up front last week against the Raiders. They haven't been out-muscled as such tonight against the Sea Eagles, and despite the fact that, gee, they've had some front rowers head away. Josh Perry, of course, went to Manly. Adam Woolnough went to Penrith. Luke DeVico retired. As Keith O'Leary moves into open space, Sea Eagles' defence was absolutely everywhere. The Eagles made a play at the football, and it will be a Newcastle scrum feed 25 metres out from their line.
Yeah, Keith O'Leary, I think he should just put his foot down. He's very, very quick, and I just don't think he backed himself here. He was away, and then, well, you had Brett Stewart in chase, so he's probably going to catch either of those players, but fortunately for the Knights, they come up with possession.
O'Leary and Cooper Vuna combining over there. As I was saying, Perry, Woolnough and DeVico all off the roster from 07, and Ben Cross and Mitchell Sargent both not considered for first grade selection tonight. The good news, though, was in the New South Wales Cup earlier this afternoon, Mitchell Sargent did make his comeback to football for the Knights in their victory over the Dogs. Inside the 10 metres, and penalty to Newcastle.
Well, they need to keep the pressure on, because the Knights, 2 points is no good to them. They've got to come up with the first try in the second half to really boost their confidence.
Giro. The inside runner is Fayoso. Good strong tackle from young Matt Ballin. Kingaroy Red Ants would be proud. Moving their way towards the line. Corey Patterson denied by 4 metres. The Knights in great real estate. Crossfield. Giro at second receiver again. Has plenty of options off his right hip. Decided against the wide ball. Paderis. Dummies, Borks, then goes to Gidley, who is swamped by Williamson. A great tackle. Very powerful from the number 14. Giro. Didn't have a lot of time, and again he links up with Fayoso. Good stuff from Richard once more. The 17 is Danny Wicks. The ball comes free. And we are going back for a changeover on the 10-metre line. Clear line of sight to the football from the referee. No need to have a look at it, Junior.
No, definitely not. It's enthusiastic defence there by Manly, but you've got to say that Newcastle, they struck left, they worked left, they had bodies in motion on the left, and then Manly were primed, or really struggling, I should say, on this near side of the field. But 2 pass by the Newcastle Knights, looking to hit on the edges. There was no decoy runners or bodies in motion, so the play fell down. So that's where the Knights have struggled a number of times tonight. They've had a poke on one side, come back to the near side and run short of bodies in motion.
There's a decent breeze blowing at the back of Manly this half, as it was Newcastle in the opening half. Once again, there's the army of one Watmo.
And how often do we see that? Anthony Watmo, when Manly needs something, Watmo steps up. It used to be Ben Kennedy. Last year, Watmo stepped up to the plate, and he was the man for the moment. Did a great tackle then. Enthusiastic chase and really put the hit on.
Inspirational is Anthony Watmo, correct, Scott Sattler?
You're right, Andy. We talk about the Manly defence. It's going back to the ages back through the mid-90s when they were renowned for their defence. They get off their line. They don't eat up a lot of yards, but they're just so patient, so perseverant with their defence. It's so frustrating for attacking sides.
Down into the corner, and a good kick from the Knights. Oh, the touch, he lost his flag. Oh, the touch, he lost the flag. We might be going to the official interchange.
I think it was probably about 1.5 meters from a good kick, because I'm sure Jared Mullen would have loved that ball to pull up just inside.
Oh, there it goes.
Just inside.
That is horrible flag work.
Oh, he needs some rosin on the hands, I think. Now the touch, he's put the rosin on anymore.
It's not all he's lost.
Hands on foot forward, Jason. Okay, lock in, Glenn, get your head in, Glenn. Out.
Here go the Eagles in the hands of Jamie Lyon.
Here and hold. Go.
Just over the 20-metre line, some care being shown for Anthony Watmough in back play here. As Stephen Menzies carries the ball forward. Back to Stephen Bell, looking for an opening. Regularly beats the first tackle. Did so, and Luke Williamson is absolutely pounded to the ground. It was Wes Nguama. Brett Stewart beat the initial contact. Watmough gets it back to Orford. On to Jason King, and the intercept was attempted. It was attempted by Corey Patterson.
But Manly starting to look a little bit more confident with the football. They didn't do this in the first. We see a good hit there on Luke Williamson by Wes Nguama. Corey Patterson intercepts the ball, knocks it down, because if he gets through Patterson, there was a 3-on-2 situation, overlap for Manly out wide. And as I said, Manly looking more confident with the football, looking to push some passes now and move the ball around, something they haven't done so far in this game.
Jason King in on there. Stay down. Get square, mate. Now's the opportunity.
Right on halfway, Manly in control of the footy after feeding the scrum. Menzies got the ball through to Stephen Bell, and again fended off the initial contact from Keith Aaliyah. For mine, Wayne, ascendancy again, moving with the visitors, dominating that ruck, so crucial in the modern game. Inside man is Mark Bryant. Keeping in mind, the Eagles are without David Violecki for the remainder of the half with blurred vision, so they are down to 16. Who wants the football? Glenn Stewart puts his hand up and says, I'll have a go. Then loses it. So a let off for the Knights, who drop it themselves. Was the advantage taken? I believe it was. And the Eagles are in through Michael Barney.
With the first.
We're going to establish here if the advantage was taken and utilised by the Knights.
I suppose the other question mark, was there a strip in the tackle?
Was that one-on-one? Good news for the Eagles during the week, extending the contract of Desi Hasler for a further 2 years. What will the coach think of this?
Well, it was charged down, goes back now. Glenn Stewart. It looks to take the opportunity. The ball comes out. Then it knocked out again, one-on-one.
One-on-one with Stephen Menzies.
Was it a knock-on by Steve Menzies if he was playing at the football? So we're not going to see much from this angle. And there was that strip there.
That's a strip by Jared Mullen to start with. I don't believe it's a knock-on. I believe Stephen Menzies has had a play at it, and it's bounced almost into the belly or the abs.
Well, this angle would give us a much better look. So Jared Mullen's definitely tried to strip there. So if they're playing the advantage, Steve Menzies, well, we can't see whether it's a knock-on there. To me, it looked as though Menzies might have actually been looking to knock the ball out.
See, I don't think there's an advantage there, but I think the advantage was taken by the Knights, and there's a distinct difference. Was there a knock-on from Stephen Menzies? What does Russell Smith think?
Newcastle, stay in the end goal.
Maybe if we could answer that last question, we'd have a better idea of where we're going to end up here.
In my opinion, there's a little lack of consistency with regards to when the advantage is taken as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a difficult one, but it looked as though the referee, Ben Cummins, said the advantage has been taken. So that's out of the hands of the video referee. He's got to establish whether or not Steve Menzies was playing at the football.
No try penalty, but penalty Manly.
Yeah, that was for the strip, Jared Mullen's strip. So I think he's ruled that Steve Menzies, when in playing at the football, knocked the ball forward, so there was no try there, but the advantage is for Jared Mullen stripping the ball off Glenn Stewart in the previous tackle.
Sign of confidence here from the Sea Eagles. They were certainly within kicking range. They believe they've got the Knights on their heels. Tackle number 1. Control of the football paramount here. If you're not going to get points, you at least want to keep them under pressure and get another set. Ballon inside to Stewart. Good angle running from the second rower. Hard to get to his feet with Matty Hilder underneath him. Here goes the boy from the Kingaroy Red Ants, Matty Ballon. He's denied by a metre. Orford. Wide and deep was Brett Stewart, who leaves it behind. The ball has gone forward. Tackle number 4. Just poor ball security from the current test number 1.
Yeah, struggling for timing. There's nothing wrong with the ball there. Brett Stewart just took his eyes off the football. Ryan Smith elated because he knew that his Knights, under pressure, another set on their line, would have really struggled to hold Manly out. And Manly definitely have upped the tempo in this second half, playing a lot better than they did for the first 35 minutes of that first half.
15 once again is Corey Patterson. Derris goes short side with Gidley. Back to Patterson, tries to fend off Steve Bell, but couldn't. Bell missed a simple one-on-one tackle earlier. In fact, that was the Leah. Almost right on to halfway. Jesse Royal gets to his feet. Bit of push and shove. Pops it through, an opportunity for the Knights. Cooper Vuna couldn't keep it on the boot and under control. If he had of, the Eagles were in all sorts of strife.
Yeah, it was an unorthodox kick there from Jared Mullen, but out the corner of his eye, he saw there was an opportunity. I thought he was going to kick long. Kicked for Cooper Vuna. Unfortunately, yeah, the soccer skills weren't up to scratch. And Manly now get possession back up near the halfway line. So that's not where the Knights certainly would like Manly to have the possession early on in the tackle count.
Difficult conditions to be trying to control a football with your boot. Adam Cuthbertson coming from the field. That's the 6th interchange for Manly as Josh Perry moves back into action late in the offensive set. He'll be fresh for the tackling that's coming his way. Vuna's spilt it. Has it gone forward? Yes, it has. And the pressure very firmly on the Knights.
Well, Matty Orford once again in the off-season. Looks like he might have done a lot of work on those spiral bombs, because this one was a beautifully weighted, perfectly timed kick, spiralling away from Cooper Vuna. I mean, they're very difficult to take by any winger slash fullback. Ryan Smith, he knows that the Knights now are really under siege. Manly starting to up the tempo, starting to really look a lot more confident, look like the grand finalists that they were last year.
Tonight they're playing for the Mal Reilly Shield, the tough Englishman who was so much a part of both of these two clubs. Now the Eagles short side, a work play. Glenn Stewart broke out of 2. Kirk Gidley was awake at the back. His little brother Brett. It's a case of not visualising the ball being dead. It was always alive, and Kurt Gidley showed the necessary urgency. Ballon, short to Warford, across field. It's on, Stewart, inside to Barney, who scores! The Sea Eagles have posted their 2nd try. It is 10 points to 2 in favour of the visitors.
We're Manly really starting to up the tempo now. Orford does well. He gets bodies in motion there. Brett Stewart comes in, pops the ball back out the back, and Barney holds his line. Now Orford there has the bodies in motion. Now, Stewart, I thought Stewart might have caught and passed and put Barney away on the outside, but he elected to come back inside and just continues to get better and better with every game. Michael Barney playing very confidently tonight once again.
Filling the position left by Chris Hicks, one of a few off-season departures. So much has been spoken about Michael Monaghan leaving the club, but Chris Hicks was very much a staple of what they did over the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, he's only played 4 first-grade games coming into tonight, and he's looked every inch, or every centimetre, I should say, nowadays, a first-grader.
Orford. Oh, it's lovely. It's there. 12 points to do as we go sideline with Scott Sattler.
Well, Andy, both sides been in an arm wrestle, waiting for one side to make that mistake. Cooper Vuno offers that chance to the Manly Seagulls, and it's a creative touches of Matty Orford that takes advantage of those situations. And an interesting thing that's just eventuated is Danny Badiris putting his hand up to come off, just exhausted, which leaves the Newcastle Knights with 7 interchanges used with 22 minutes to go for a player who is expected to play 80 minutes each week. So, you know, it's going to be last 22 minutes, it's going to be an uncomfortable position for these Newcastle Knights with their most experienced player off the field. Tough conditions for Danny Badiris tonight. Both he and Chris Houston were the only 2 forwards for the Knights that played all 80 minutes last week. And again, Scott, Houston is out there, and as you said, Danny would have been expected to fill that role. I don't think we've seen the last of the captain of number 9 just yet. Here is Josh Perry.
A big hole though, Steve Simpson not playing tonight. He's going to be out for probably the next 4 to 6 weeks. Is a big blow. When you're talking about coming up against a quality pack, you need your high-profile international players out there from a confidence perspective. And the Knights now really struggling confidence-wise. They've lost the ascendancy in the play-the-ball area, and Manly have really upped the tempo once again. Great chase there and hit by Cuthbertson.
Yeah, it was Cuthbertson in 16 in the headgear. Hasn't had a lot of game time tonight. The fresh legs carrying his big frame downfield pretty quickly on the kick chase. Crossfield they go. This is the former Parramatta back rower, Zeb Taylor.
Spent a fair bit of time in the centres last week when Cooper Vuno went off for about 30 minutes and did an extremely good job out wide. Very versatile player.
Hope you can join us on Fox Sports 2 tomorrow, live at 2 p.m. It is NRL Sunday, and it's coming live from Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland, where the Warriors play host to the Parramatta Eels. And as we said earlier, Monday Night Football live with kickoff just after 7 o'clock on Fox 2 Monday night. It is the St George Illawarra Dragons and the Gold Coast Titans from Wollongong's WIN Stadium. Menzies, so versatile. Oh, and he flings one out the back a million miles an hour. In fact, it almost hit little Jeff Tuvey fair in the forehead. Tubes is Manly's 14th man and is out there pretty much every attacking set, as all trainers are in the modern game, barking instructions. Orford pumps it through. Kurt Gidley covers a lot of ground and does so very quickly. Shoulder bump, not a shoulder charge from Stephen Menzies. Well played, Kurt Gidley.
Well, I gave Michael Barney a rap earlier from the point of view of he's only played 4 first-grade games, but this is inexperience here. Kurt Gidley, well, he milks that. Barney should have let go, and he'll learn very, very quickly. You can't get away with things at this level of football that you might get away in the lower grades.
Jesse Royal in 10, who's had a solid game without being spectacular. He's certainly done what he has been asked by the coach and teammates. Made the yards when required.
Well, they've done a lot of tough work, the Newcastle forwards, in containing Manly's forwards in that first half. And it looks like it's taken a fair bit out of their petrol tanks. They're looking like they're running a little flat at the moment.
Zeb Taylor spills it out the back. Who wants it for the Knights? It is Patterson, and here they come, because Josh Perry, who was public enemy number 1 tonight, dropped the big shoulder in. Mullen goes forward. Good tackle from Ballon. a rolling tackle, if you like. Gidley over the top, off the side of the boot, well taken, but taken from the field of play, in goal by Brett Stewart, and he is brought to the ground 5 metres out. Doing it tough, getting it out from the back of their own field, trying to keep play in and around the ditch area just behind the ruck, and that's exactly the case again.
But they're playing smart. They know that they don't need to score any more points to win this game. They've just got to control possession, get to a reasonable position to kick and chase and play the ball down the other end of the field, because Newcastle are self-destructing. Last 2 sets, they've pushed the football, they're playing catch-up football, and Manly look very, very composed at the moment.
For a guy that has shifted around between many positions over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, Kurt Gidley has adapted so well to the #1 jersey in the last 18 months.
16, flop.
Well, they come up with a penalty there,
16.
Newcastle. Manly flopping in on the play of the ball, but getting back to Kurt Gidley, he's really stepped up as a leader in the past 12 months. Since Andrew Johns moved on, Danny Medeiros has been the skipper, but Gidley has stepped up from the point of view of taking control of the backs, as we see there, Manly slowing down Newcastle in the play of the ball. Now let's see if Newcastle are going to look to take the risks like they have done in the past couple of plays. I think they need to use more of a kicking game. They haven't used enough of the kicking game in behind the Manly outside backs who are swarming upwards in defence.
Matt Hilder in 14 has taken over dummy half positioning in the absence of Danny Medeiros. It shows his versatility. He can play literally anywhere in the back row and move him from 5/8 out into the centres at a pinch, I guess, but he's performing the duty of the #9 as we speak. 10 metres out, looking for a late challenge. Wouldn't it set up a pretty thrilling finale? As it goes to Jesse Royal, he has been heavily monitored tonight, especially his upper body. Gets a good offload going, Jesse. Giro, short ball and try for Newcastle. Very easy to Chris Houston. The former St George Illawarra Dragon scores for the Newcastle Knights for the first time. It is 12-6, still with a kick to come, and just over 15 minutes remaining.
Well, they kept punching, and a great little ball there. Scott Giro for Chris Houston. Houston runs a great line, and through the defence out there, Adam Cuthbertson caught short. Jamie Lyon not communicating with Cuthbertson as to who had the ball runner, and Houston went over without a hand put on him. But Giro, beautiful little ball, and just probing, they're probing. They haven't dropped their bundle. They're still playing with a lot of enthusiasm. Seemingly a little overpowered in the second half, but they've hung in there and stay within striking distance of winning this match.
He's a big unit, Chris Houston. First in his career, first at the club, obviously. Manly were red-hot favourites going into this one. One of the shorter-priced favourites of the round. Gidley, 18 metres back, and has pushed it out to the right. Let's go sideline with Scott Sattler.
Well, guys, a little bit of panic in the Manly defensive line then, which we don't usually see, but we see the Newcastle Knights playing direct at the line, which is enterprising. What we do see is Danny Medeiros now coming on the field for Matty Hilder. This game is nowhere near finished.
Medeiros having a spell of, I guess, about 7 or 8 minutes.
He's done a lot of work in defence tonight and been very energetic and probing in around the rucks, as we expect from Danny Medeiros. Him back on the field means Kurt Gidley will step back to the vice-captaincy's role, and Gidley has been injecting himself into play as much as possible as well, trying to lift the Newcastle Knights. Manly now looking to try and force an error once again.
Gee, that was a good hit and drive from Jamie Lyon defensively there, because Richard Fayoso had really wound up Lyon in nice, in and around the rib cage, and pushed back.
That was a big blow too, Kurt Gidley not coming up with that penalty goal, because really would have given a huge emotional lift to Newcastle. Yeah, sure, there's still a converted try away from force, but that in, I think, would have made a huge difference.
Medeiros to Duro. Straight down the centre of the field he goes. Brent Stewart fields at 5 metres out from his line, and there is no surprise to see who's leading the team down. It's Bedsy again. Michael Barney, back slam, wrestling style by the former state captain. Stewart through the middle. Ballon to Perry. Hip toss to the ground by much smaller Jared Mullen. Orford pounds it downfield, bounce one into the hands of Kurt Gidley. I don't know if Manly's long kicking game tonight has had the direction that Des Hasler would like, Wayne. I think too many balls have been either A, straight to the fullback, or bounce one.
But what's made them into good kicks, reasonable kicks tonight, has been their kick chase. Manly's kick chase has been spot on tonight, put Kirk Gidley under enormous pressure. And the Knights now need to keep the positive talk happening. They need to be talking each other up, and they need to be running in numbers with plenty of support, because there are opportunities, particularly Manly's defence out wide, starting to look a little bit flatter than it was for most of this match.
Big Danny Wicks taking it forward in 17. Both sides had one change from the run on side to the side that was named on Tuesday. Adam McDougall not playing in this one. He was replaced by Keith Aaliyah, and once again Steve Menzies started from the bench as Newcastle, with 13 minutes, are getting dangerously close. They've got a bit of a spring in their step.
Yeah, pretty ordinary conclusion to the set on that occasion. They just were flat passing the ball, trying to get around Manly without having any decoys running through the line. It was a really strange ending to the set, and Manly don't need to force the pass. Adam Cuthbertson off.
Knock on Newcastle. Adam Cuthbertson has been saved. Wow. A pass that didn't need to be thrown. And an all-time blow-up from some of the Knights.
Yeah, there's no need for this. He's a very talented ball player, Adam Cuthbertson, but he doesn't need that. Now, Danny Medeiros, is it that's got a hand on it? Maybe. Danny Medeiros, does he come and get a hand on it? Yeah, I think Danny Medeiros is the one that gets the hand on it. And a good decision by the referee in the end.
Okay, lock on, we're going here. Hold there, bend it, wait for you to tie. Lock in.
Could have been a lonely bus ride back for Adam Cuthbertson had of that been picked up by the Knights.
Well, there's no need for that. I mean, it's in situations where it's tight like this, pressure of games, you can actually, and he's a very good ball player, but you've got to play the conditions and play the circumstances. And Manly at the moment, they don't need to score. They've just got to get down the other end of the field, because Newcastle have been camped down this end of the field for probably the past 10, 15 minutes. It's
Cuthbertson again with an offload after being driven back. Interesting to note, Adam Cuthbertson is now making his way to the sideline. Luke Williamson into action with 10 minutes to go. Junior, is this a reefing? Has he been hooked?
Oh, he might have just been fatigued, and Luke Williamson, very good defensive player, and a player that's going to get through a lot more volume of defence. I think that's probably why they put Luke Williamson out there, and a good ploy by Des Hasler.
Danny, what's that sleeper? 2.
Go down to the sideline with Scott Sattler.
Well, guys, we see the interchange rule starting to shape our competition as we speak. Newcastle Knights used all 10 interchanges with 12 minutes to go. The Manly Seagulls just made their 9th with Luke Williamson, as you just mentioned. And Chris Houston for the Newcastle Knights, number 11, has not been interchanged, has played the full 80 minutes he gets through the end of this game.
Exactly as he did last weekend against the Canberra Raiders, and a drop ball, and it is the interchange in Luke Williamson that is there. A controlled set of 6 is what's required by the Eagles. A one-on-one strip, and it was knocked on, says the referee.
And you can't argue with that. I think the referee got it spot on. Spot on. It was Danny Wicks looking for the strip. Got the strip, but in the process of getting the strip, ball travels forward from Wicks, and that's a knock on. Beaver was a little lucky actually that Wicks didn't hold on to it. Desi has. He's pumped. Des realises a tough encounter. You come up here and take the money away from Newcastle on a wet night with a big Newcastle crowd picking them up and lifting them, then you've certainly earned your money. And Manly tonight, the game isn't over yet, but they've toiled away and lost their way at times, but this second half, they've controlled it much better than the first half.
I couldn't figure out Desi there if he was encouraging his side or trying to start a chant. Had it all going up in the Sea Eagles box.
That's the only support he would have got, was up in the Sea Eagles box.
Yeah, not a lot of support for the Maroon and Whites here at Energy Australia Stadium. A good tackle on Stephen Bell. It was again Keith Aaliyah. Orford trying to isolate the defender, and he does that, engaging Lalea and making him double up on the tackle count. Not a great kick. In fact, it was a nothing kick from the Eagles. It wasn't a territorial kick. It wasn't a pressure kick. It wasn't an attacking kick.
Des Hasler would be very disappointed with that conclusion to the set because, as you pointed out, Andy, there was no thought went into it. Basically, just get rid of the ball and kick down. Now, Newcastle's starting to make some yardage once again. This game's far from over.
Newcastle playing it just short of the 40-metre line through Zeb Taya. Marching towards the halfway. This is Richard Fayoso playing. Has seen a few clubs, Richard. Untapped talent. It is just a matter of getting the best out of him. Look what's happening on the field at the moment, Wayne, is a lot of players, especially the bigger guys, feeling a little bit of cramp. Jared Mullen is down in back play. Just one player starting to struggle.
They've tried that play, a little kick over the top there a couple of times tonight. Jared Mullen tried it earlier tonight. On that occasion, Scotty Giro just trying to put the ball over for Cooper Vuna on the burst. Obviously, they feel Michael Barney is a little slow to kick it to turn and chase, but both occasions the ball, the other occasion, Cooper Vuna couldn't control it. Jared Mullen here.
Anthony, arms around for us again.
She's cut about 300 kilos on him.
Just square for us again, Matt.
Good little charge by Mullen.
Okay, mate.
See him limping around, suffering from cramp. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Once again, we hope you can stay with us on Fox Sports 2 for the full journey on Super Saturday, because next up we're going live to Townsville's Dairy Farmers Stadium for the North Queensland Cowboys and the Wests Tigers. That is next, and it is live. Stay with us.
Move, Danny! Right in, hold, Zeb, hold.
4-point game out at Penrith CUA Stadium earlier this evening, and just a 6-point game here at Energy Australia.
That's it, Danny.
There's Michael Robertson, the Bush Ranger. Beats the initial tackle. Not many beat Danny Baderis. That was again the case. Orford looking for the 1 point. It's pushed wide and bounces in favour of the Knights. Again, Newcastle with the footy. There's an opportunity if they can go wide here early. Here is Lalea. Over the top comes Glenn Stewart, because on his outside was Cooper Vuna, and Vuna was unmarked. The 15 is Corey Patterson. They've certainly got some tall timber, don't they, the Newcastle Knights, the back row with Houston, Serraldo and Patterson in an interchange. Straight through the middle, Zeb Taya. 6 points is the difference. Over the top to McManus it goes, and the ball was just too big. Did they go for too much? Was that the inexperienced play?
It certainly was a touch of inexperience there. Zeb will look at this replay and see that even if McManus did get control of football, he was going to be shut down by the chasers from Manly anyway. So the smart option would have been to take the play and then strike back on the far side of the field, because Manly were ragged. The defensive line was ragged on that occasion. But you live and learn, and that's a good lesson for Zeb Taya in terms of what happens when you actually make a break. Can't afford to play a high-risk play such as that.
Let's go, Manly.
Especially when the game's in the balance.
Keep that tunnel clear, outside foot forward. Stay in, get square for us here. Okay, that's it now. Put it in, put it in. Boys, let's keep this tunnel. Just take it easy, you two. Take it easy, I've got on. Down you go.
Oh, a headbutt. Josh Perry and Danny Wicks. Wicks wants to go.
Step apart. Step apart.
Oh, they're props. Let them go.
Take him back. Take him back. Josh Perry.
As we can see here, this
Hold
is
on.
Mate, penalty's going against you. Charging with a head. We'll go on report. Penalty against you.
Okay, it's on report. Was it a headbutt?
Just wait there, Danny.
Junior?
Well, I don't know who it was that actually headbutted it, but obviously the referee feels it was Josh Perry.
Here come the Knights with just on 3 minutes remaining and a penalty to Newcastle.
Wait there, Danny, wait.
6 points is the difference. Here is Zeb Taylor trying to hit and spin under the defensive pressure of Brent Kite and Matt Ballon. Vidaris goes to Duro. Oh, the Knights have dropped it with the line wide open. Richie Fayoso just couldn't hold on.
That was just unbelievable. Great little ball once again from Scott Duro. He ran a perfect line, Richard Fayoso. He had the ball. He was over the line and lost the grip on the football. And he knows that's the game there and then. That is the game. Would have been a try under the post. 6 points. Could have forced the game into extra time, but it wasn't the case. So close and yet so far.
A massive let-off for Manly and a huge disappointment for the Knights, who have
Josh
staged
Perry.
a spirited comeback.
Saying Josh Perry would be, boss, I'll tell you what, saying his Hail Marys there, because that was a direct result of that possession and that try that almost was a direct result of the penalty. Stupid play. Newcastle back in possession.
Josh Perry was the one that spilt the ball, and no advantage has been ruled here. It's a double knock-on. Good shot. Down low. Ex-teammate Danny Vidaris. Play moved on, and the referee said there was no advantage played.
No advantage. Matty, we're going on.
Another chance for Newcastle.
Let's go.
Just under 3 remaining. This place is hotted up. Every member of the crowd has moved forward to the front of their seat. Sitting on the edge, here is Gidley. Going wide into the hands of Wes Nguama. Trying to expose a weakness, be it individual or collective, in this Manly line. Danny Wicks. Josh Perry puts his hand up and says, I want to be first in here. He has 3 teammates. Help him out. Inside runner, the Knights are in! The Knights are in! 12 points to 10. We may be going to Golden Point. Wow! Two minutes remain. 2 points separate the sides.
Well, they bombed one. In fact, Richard Fayoso bombed one only a matter of a few minutes ago. This time, on the burst, steams onto the football, and he redeems himself. What about the determination in this run? He was back. What? And Manly tonight have been superb in their one-on-one defence. They haven't missed really any one-on-one defence at all. Great ball back on the inside, Jared Mullen and Fayoso. It was just determination plus. And how good's he going to feel after that? Because you can see he was absolutely shattered when he dropped the ball with the line wide open only a matter of a few moments ago.
Gidley, flags go up, and the scores are locked at 12. We are playing for the Mal Reilly Shield. How would you like to be Brian Smith or Des Hasler riding through this one? 1 minute and 1 second remain. This is how the Knights did it. Hard, strong running from Richie Fayoso again.
just determination by Fayoso on that occasion. And this...
Wicks is hit in a gem. It's Perry, Williamson and Watmo.
And it's not just the Newcastle players that are responding to this crowd, it's the Manly players as well. They are pumped. Both teams are pumped. Mullins goes for the short
Over
kick.
the top here is Vuna. Vuna doesn't get it in. Unable to reel it in. 21 seconds to go. Manly packing the scrum. And time has blown off. Officially, as we said earlier, we're having problems with our clock. 17.3 seconds remain. 2 plays and the crack at a field goal, perhaps, for the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles.
Yeah, that was a big call there. That particular play was a bit of a risky play. They've tried it a number of times tonight, trying to expose Michael Barney defensively, getting behind him. On that occasion, like the previous occasions, it didn't come off. But the risk is that Manly can work it up and have a shot at a long-range field goal.
Here is Jamie Lyon, straight into the defence. We are down to 11 seconds. Make it 10. Scores a lock. Ball to Orford. It comes off the Knights. Still in the hands of Newcastle. Now into the hands of Wesner Guama. There is the siren. And after 80 minutes, the scores are locked at 12. We're going into extra time. Scott Sattler, a thrilling 80 minutes. I think Sats is just sitting down there, Junior, absorbing the energy and the atmosphere.
I don't think you can hear us because of the crowd noise. Absolutely electric here in Newcastle tonight.
Brian Smith on the walkie-talkie, delivering instructions as Des Hasler would have been.
And this is the try that put us into extra time. Richard Fayoso, who only a matter of a few moments earlier bombed a try with the try line wide open, dropped the football. Matt Orford goes for the long-range field goal to win the match, but never a chance. The Newcastle Knights up in defence, put pressure on Matt Orford. And well, this atmosphere is just sensational up here. And you talk about, is it going to be a plus for Newcastle? But it really is also going to lift the Manly players, because you get a crowd like this, a vocal crowd like this, it really does charge the whole stadium with energy. And the players, both sides will respond to that. Manly will be coming off their line first set because Newcastle are kicking off.
Considering the rain in and around the Hunter region over the past 18 hours, a great crowd in attendance here at EAS. Our first Golden Point extra time of season 2008. And the Knights to kick off. The Eagles with the first use of the football. Interchange starts again. 2 extras. And deep, very deep into the arms of Michael Robinson. Across field to Josh Perry. And a good collision on the 10-metre line. Perry bullets forward a further 2 metres. Brent Kite has been kept relatively quiet tonight in a game where the forwards have been busy, but more so a game suited for the versatile forwards. Forwards like this man, Glenn Stewart, who gets the ball back to Kite. And if Kite had have looked over his left shoulder, he would have seen Watmo and crew in support. Here is Watmo to Williamson. Into the line goes the number 14.
Very much a territorial game when you go to extra point, because both teams are conscious of not giving the opposition possession where they can go for a field goal. Great play there, great offload as well.
Wonderful offload from Stephen Menzies to Brett Stewart into the hands of Matt Orford. He kicks centre field, trying to wrong foot Kurt Gidley. Here come the Knights, but here come the Eagles. Orford kicked it, and Orford secured the tackle.
Massive play there by Kirk Gidley to get back in the field of play. They couldn't afford to line drop out because of the field goal attempt that would have been ensuing from Manly. So Newcastle now, can they dig deep? They've been running dry of interchange players for the best part of the last 15 minutes of that first half, of that second half. So they're running low on fuel. They need to get the talk, the positive talk happening.
Already Brian Smith going to the interchange bench. He's going to put Jesse Royal back out there. Coming off the field, I think it's Danny Wicks. So a change after a minute 40. They need fresh legs, and the Knights have got numbers. Oh, leaving it behind is Mullen. Knock on is the call from Orford. Knock on is the call from the referee on Orford.
Well, the big call here is, did he play at the football? Did Matt Orford play at the football? Or was he trying to effect a tackle? Well, yeah, I think the referee got it right. I think he was playing at the football. So that's a good call there by referee Ben Cummins, because if he doesn't get the call right, it would have been curtains for Newcastle.
That's our interpretation, mate. That's our interpretation, mate. Just wait, down you go, Anthony.
Advantage Newcastle with a scrum on their 40-metre line and 5 opportunities at making metres and getting the ball somewhere within the 30-metre field goal range. This is Wes Nguama up to the 40-metre line. Watmo injured. Centre field they go. Through the big boys like Jesse Royal. 37 metres out, Baderis. Just a short little wrist ball there to Richie Fayoso. The Knights are in the zone. Here is Scott Duro, who hits it, likes it, the crowd goes up, and the Newcastle Knights, they have stolen a victory. What a victory it was too. They were down 12 points to 2. 2 tries late in the second half, and an incredible field goal in extra time. And the Newcastle Knights are 2 from 2 in 2008.
Yeah, miraculous comeback by the Knights. Scott Duro puts it over, not over the black dot, but over the post for the point that wins the match. But they were absolutely out on their feet, the Knights. At 12-2, looked as though Manly could really go on with the game, but they hung in there, and somehow, some way, they've come back and won the match. They're absolutely ecstatic. I thought they'd bombed it when Richie Fayoso bombed that try with about 5 minutes to go. Only a couple of minutes later, he came up with the try, redeemed himself.
Let's head down onto the field with Scott Sadler.
Well, I'm here with the hero, Scotty Duro. Scotty, that's what we play football for, isn't it?
Mate, I think today's the best day of my life. I've got all my family here watching. They're here from everywhere. I got them tickets in a box, there's probably 50 of them. It's the best day of my life.
What about the game? It was such an arm wrestle, wasn't it? You're in it, you're out of it, and then Manly took ascendancy, but to come back that way, it's really relieving for a developing team, isn't it?
Mate, listen to this crowd. This is what gets us home. Mate, I was gone, and then this crowd just goes nuts. They're the best ever, second to none.
Well, we talked about taking the fans out of an equation when you're an opposition team, but it's so hard when you've got so much support, isn't it?
Mate, it's just a quarter. It's been pissing down rain all day, and they just come out in their thousands. They're unbelievable.
Congratulations, great effort yourself, and good luck for the rest of the season, Paddy.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.